my wife Teresa and I have lived just down the street near the old Hazelwood for 3 decades. And our 2 daughters went to Hazelwood and McKnight, and should have gone to Hagen, but they actually went to Interlake because we had left and went to Washington, D.C. for a year, and when we came back, the Bellevue curriculum was a little closer to that of Arlington, Virginia, and so we finished up in Bellevue. But we've always loved this area. And interesting fact, when before cityhood, when Newcastle was determining what to do with fire services, I was actually on the citizen panel that evaluated District 25, Renton, and Bellevue. And then almost 3 decades later, I ended up being a Bellevue employee, so something I'm very fortunate to have. So my plan is just keep going on, enjoying your lunch. I'm going to take you through a little presentation about the Bellevue Fire Department and how we're serving the Newcastle community. And then I would like to turn it over at that time to your local fire captain, Ryan Armstrong, and let you guys just ask him some questions about what's happening in your area, okay? I'm fine with questions, so if you can't hear me or you have a question, please raise your hand. And I would be happy if you get everything you can out of today's presentation, okay? So the first thing I'd like to talk to you about is our Bellevue Fire Department Values in Action program. I started in Bellevue about a year ago. My 1-year anniversary is May 14th. And when I got there, I saw some values on the wall on a brass plaque, and I saw them in some documents, but it didn't really seem like they were kind of coming alive for people, right? So I said, my research on leadership and employee performance tells me that if we can make those values real for people, if we can demonstrate that we're actually making decisions based on those values, ultimately, that's how we're going to get the most buy-in and ultimately the most performance. And so the Values in Action program has its first value is integrity, the second one, commitment to employees, the third, excellent customer service, the fourth, innovation, and the fifth, stewardship. And so we're training on those values and we say, okay, Jay, what does that really mean? We instituted a program this year for our annual award ceremony where we asked the firefighters to nominate their peers who they thought were demonstrating those values in each category. And we recognize that. And I'm telling my chiefs and my captains that it's almost like I have those values tattooed on my chest. And if you guys see me behaving in a way that's inconsistent with those, please, you have the ability to call me out on that. And I have the ability to call you out on that. And in that manner, we're going to hold each other accountable and move forward. And I believe that that's the way we unlock employee engagement and get people really to buy into what we're trying to do in our mission. And I'm so proud to share with you the observation that you have a tremendous workforce in the Bellevue Fire Department. They are absolutely dedicated to the mission. They absolutely feel responsible for each and every outcome, and I've just been so thrilled to be part of it. So we could just walk briefly through each of those values. Who has a common sense definition of integrity? No one's going to play? Okay. How about doing the right thing when no one's looking? Could we buy that? Okay. All right. And we're doing these things day in. I have great pictures you're not seeing day out in any kind of weather. But I just want you to try and see the back of the medic unit during the storm, which was kind of a big deal for us because we had a couple babies born, we had a couple heart attacks during the storm. And the medic unit backed up to the station and a big clump of snow fell off in the shape of a heart. And our medic unit out in North Bend. So we took a picture of it, and I don't know if someone made it look like a heart and they're just kidding me, but I thought that was pretty cool. So we all made it through the snowstorm. And yes, the front walk at the Newcastle station was shoveled. Commitment to employees. This one's important to me because if I can't demonstrate that, I can't get the buy-in, right? And so that may mean supporting the guys and gals to go to a particular training class or getting a credential or certification they want. But it's just day to day. It's about being able to say, no, you're not going to get every single thing you want, but when there's something important to you that helps you drive the mission, and meet the customer needs. We're going to take a real hard look at supporting that. I want to talk real briefly about the changing work environment of emergency services, because this may be something that you're not aware of. We are more and more frequently having to respond to scenes of violence. You probably saw in the news there was another school shooting yesterday in Colorado. And we had one here in our city not too long ago. It started in Bellevue and kind of ended up in Newcastle. So what that means to me is I have to provide a work environment where these first responders are safe. And the big wake-up moment for me was the Las Vegas shooting, where people attending a country music festival now were being attacked military style by assault rifles from a vantage point. And so I'm trying to find funds to get tactical helmets, bulletproof vests, and really honestly military style gear so that my firefighters can go into that zone of protection that the police provide and save savable lives. And if you watched the news this morning, you saw that the experiences in Columbine, set up the perimeter, wait for the SWAT team, 180 degrees different yesterday. Form a diamond of 4 officers, go to the noise, go to the killing, and stop the problem. That's exactly what happened in Colorado yesterday, and that's exactly how we're going to respond here in Newcastle. And I would say, not if, when the scene of violence comes to our community. That's the frequency, that's the level of importance that I place on preparing for, preventing, and responding to that kind of incident. Also, I want to mention, we have to safeguard our wellness. Your paramedics, your firefighters see all kinds of things that take a load on them, right? It takes a mental toll on them. I also serve on the board of directors for Code 4 Northwest, which is a suicide hotline for first responders. And we handle mental health issues, chemical dependency issues, and our referrals are up 80% in the last 2 years. So we're taking 6 to 8 referral calls, not just from our area, but from the whole western part of the state, each and every week. And we're getting first responders that are saying, you know what, I need help. Some of the things I see at work, I'm just not right, you know. And so this is a changing part of our work landscape. And fortunately, we have a peer-to-peer network where first responders can discreetly contact that network, get triaged, and get the help they need. So not only do I want them to be successful at work, but I want them to be successful for a full career, right? And so emotional, psychological trauma is every bit as real as a broken leg from falling off a ladder. Okay, so I'm dealing with that. And then also integrating technology into the job is a huge thing we're dealing with. We used to do, how long ago did we start doing the electronic healthcare records? About a year ago?
Yep, a year, April, so yeah, just over a year.
So before that, all over King County, if we saw you for a medical reason, we did a paper form in triplicate. And the pink copy went to you, the yellow copy went to the hospital, the white copy went back to the station. Well, that's all behind us. Now we are using electronic healthcare records where seamlessly the information goes to the hospital, goes to the insurance company, all at one time, all wirelessly. So we're hopefully in a much better position, not only to pull data out to find trends, but to make it a better experience for everybody. So for example, when you arrive at the hospital, they already know your vital signs, they already know your allergies, the medications you take, and yes, they know about your insurance. And so we're driving that better experience. When I started in the late 80s, if you were having chest pain, I was the guy that greased up the paddles and put those paddles on your chest and had to look at the oscilloscope and decide, do we shock this or not? And now, that information wirelessly goes to the emergency room and a doctor is evaluating that heart rhythm likely before you even get in the back of the ambulance or the medicated. So dramatic advances in technology for us. More pictures that you're not going to see. We'll have it. If she moves it out, you'll know we're really good. What do I mean by exceptional public service? Not typical, unusually good, outstanding. And the benchmark that I have for my guys and gals is every public interaction matters. Whether that's at Safeway, talking to a neighbor, or whether we're in your living room pumping on your loved one's chest. Every interaction matters, and that we are accessible to you and we are open to you. And my challenge to the guys and gals in the station this year is two things in terms of public interaction. Number one, community connections matter and they're important. So people have told me for years, when you do a fire station visit, we have you're cool and your truck is cool. We have that down 100%. We're trying to move past that a little bit and impart some educational message. Whether that's, hey, can we help you size your bicycle helmet correctly? Or can we talk to you about the best kind of CO detector to buy? We're trying to move past, yes, the fire truck is cool, into what can we impart, all right? And another reason I'm excited, Ryan decided to join me today, is I want to move from, I think my fire station is down here on Newcastle Way. I want to move past that to, you know what, I know Captain Armstrong. He's my captain in my neighborhood. And I remember when he went to Healthy Kids Day at the Y, or we went to the fire station in October for open house, or when Ryan responded to my neighbor's house for a porch fire, or whatever it may be. So I'm trying to drive them to the realization that community connections matter, and we need to be investing wherever we can. Okay, in 2018, last year, we had just under 20,000 emergency responses, over 20,000 if you count the mutual aid responses. And a little later, Ryan is going to explain to you about what those look like, what those feel like, and where they're going. And in the first quarter of 2019, we are at 5,200 already at the end of the first quarter, so we are on par to be over 20,000 system-wide this year. And Rob's cringing just a little bit because the bill is a function of assessed value times responses. Yeah, anyway, so we are getting a little busier.
That's 5,000 in Newcastle?
No, that's system-wide, right? And so we operate 9 fire stations in Bellevue neighborhoods and 4 medic units. So the medic units are the advanced life support units. We have one at Overlake Hospital. We have one on 148th by the Mormon Temple. We have 2 out east, one at North Bend and the other one in St. Andrews. So our footprint in terms of advanced life support is bigger than just Bellevue. And the medic unit that we would get here in Newcastle is likely going to come from Station 2 at Eastgate. Yep. We're extremely proud of our paramedic services in King County. This may be something you guys already know. We publish, for witnessed cardiac arrest, we publish a save rate over 56%. It's literally a crown jewel, not only of our area, but of the Western United States. I had the head of emergency medicine for the entire United Kingdom visit me a couple years ago, and he said, Jay, you know what my save rate is? I said, no. He said 12.5% in the United Kingdom. So he was here to learn the secret sauce. How do we do it? One of the reasons we're able to do it is we have a tremendous, long-standing partnership between the University of Washington School of Medicine, Harborview Medical Center, and then your medic units in your community, which serve as a rolling classroom for the students that spend a year of their life, day and night, a full year, learning how to become a Bellevue paramedic. Tremendously proud of that. I'll mention a little bit that our community, as well as Bellevue, is changing in terms of cultural diversity. I was having lunch with the Bellevue School District the other day, and I learned that who knows how many countries there are in the world? Just take a guess. Oh, Annie's going to nail it.
Now I'm nervous.
Okay, 220. So in the Bellevue School District this year, there are 180 birth countries represented in the high schools in Bellevue. So Bellevue, and I would guess Newcastle, may be a minority-majority community. Not yet? Not yet. Bellevue is, okay?
It's 46%, it depends on how you break it down. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna give Danny credit for getting the country's thing right, because I know
I
she's
was gonna
pretty
say 227.
tough
Close.
on Trivial Pursuit.
You don't know.
So at any rate, the challenge to me is the Bellevue Fire Department is mostly male and mostly white, like me. And so we are undergoing some efforts in recruiting and training, hiring and retaining women and men of color. So that means there are a lot of opportunities. We've changed our hiring practices to a speed round where we're able to go farther down the list and look at more people and give them a 7-minute interview with one question, which is, why do you think you're worthy to be a Bellevue firefighter? And we listen to them for 7 minutes, and a panel of their peers says basically thumbs up or thumbs down, and then they move on into a more traditional type of hiring process. So that's on me. Become more diverse to reflect the community we serve. So that's one of my goals. Okay. In the last 4-year period, the growth in Bellevue is really dramatic. We've had 760 new single-family homes. Now that doesn't mean raw land, grow a house. What that means is buy it, tear it down, and build a new single-family home. 2.9 million square feet of new office space in Bellevue. So you go, okay, Jay, I don't really understand what that means. What's 2.9 million? That's 188 Costco stores of office space in Bellevue. 5,000 multi-family unit residential spaces. And we also provide prevention and inspection services here in Newcastle. So just like the one right down here at the brick plant, I'm forgetting the name of it, Avalon Bay, that type of thing, 5,000 units. And in the pipeline, we have 350 single-family house permits, another 5.2 million square feet of office, and another 4,000 multifamily. So the pipeline is absolutely grand. Stunning, the amount of growth. We have, over the years, we've seen growth rise, top off, maybe stay up for a year, maybe two, and then fall back down again. What we're seeing now is there's no end in sight. We're plateaued, and the growth is just absolutely amazing. So, we added 2 new fire inspectors this year. We added some extra support staff. The overall number of firefighters has not changed. There are 48 or 49 on duty every day. 48 on duty every day. There is a fire officer, an engineer, and a firefighter at your station. So in Seattle, every unit has 4 firefighters. In Bellevue and on the east side, they have 3. So given all this growth, I'm focusing on a couple things in the next 5 years. Investments in our infrastructure and investments in our staffing to keep pace with this growth and demand. I had the operations officer for Facebook at lunch with this guy last week, and he tells me he's putting 2 12-story buildings in the Spring District and bringing 2,400 workers over the next 2 years to the Spring District in Bel Red. And then I meet with the Amazon guy, and the numbers that the Amazon guy has just blow me away. I can't even get my mind around it. 6 buildings and up to 24,000 employees. So get used to millennials. We're going to have a lot of them around us. Yes. Let's see, let's just get that far. Some of these aren't going to make sense if you can't see the pictures. I will talk real briefly about our CARES program. So, has anybody heard the term MIH, or Mobile Integrated Healthcare? Okay, so we have a program called CARES in Bellevue, and what we're finding is that the traditional model of fire engine to your front yard, aid car to the hospital, that traditional model is working less and less, more and more of the time. Because what are we encountering in the community?
Traffic.
Homelessness, elders trying to stay in their homes past when it's reasonable, mental health issues, all sorts of these peripheral issues that the traditional, that Ryan and his guys, you know what they're good at? They're good at CPR, they're good at stroke care, they're good at EMS, they're good at structural firefighting. But more and more we're finding these peripheral kinds of experiences, and so they're able to call the CARES team, and we have social workers from 7 universities that come paired up and take care of those issues either that day, if it's during business hours, or they follow on the day after, if it's not, if it's like a weekend or a holiday. This is a great deal for us because these social work, these are masters of social work students, so they need 2,000 hours of contact time to get their degree, and we have the opportunity to provide them with that experience. So we get them almost for free. And so we are serving our S in our values and action program, stewardship, right? Trying to sift the dollars instead of guzzle the dollars. Trying to repair before we buy something new or build something new, and use the dollars as thoughtfully as we can. So we're very proud of that program. We hosted some visitors from Japan, some international visitors from Japan here this year. We skipped that one. Skip that one. We are doing some infrastructure work this year. We're building a new fire station in downtown Bellevue at 12 and 112. If you can picture that, there's a park on that southwest corner. We're building a station there that will house a new asset, Fire Engine 110. We'll move the medic unit from Overlake there. We'll move the battalion chief from south downtown there. And that's going to close a big gap for us in our response coverage. There's 2 kinds of goals that we have in terms of our deployment in the community. One of them I call the stopwatch, and the other one I call spreading peanut butter. So when your heart stops, what matters? Elapsed seconds until we get there, right? So in that regard, we want to have units placed strategically around our service area. And for other things like a trench collapse, or a technical rescue, or a structure fire, we want to have what's called an effective response force. Get there as soon as possible. So that capability, we want to spread evenly around the community, so we can get the right combination of resources to your emergency. Also, we're rebuilding the Clyde Hill Station, which is on Northeast 24th. We have a Bellevue station that's just inside Clyde Hill. So we're actually working on a land swap with them, and hope to be breaking ground on that within about a year. Okay, so yeah, you should say, ooh,
There's some
wow.
good-looking cars.
So I did a little homework on demographics in Newcastle that you guys probably already know, but my records indicate that we're serving 11,300 people in Newcastle, that the median age is, Danny?
39.
Very close, 39.2, with a median household income of $118,000. Newcastle is 60.5% white, 28.5% Asian, and 4.4% would report 2 or more races. And 34.5% speak a language other than English in the home, which is another challenge for us, because I don't have a lot of multilingual speakers in the fire department. So we use a tool called Language Line, where I would hold up a menu and say, would you please point to the language that is yours? And then she points to her language, and we call up a service, and they charge us per minute, and we hand the phone back and forth. But it works, right? Would you say it works? Okay. Okay, so at this point, I would like to introduce Captain Armstrong, and I would just say a couple things. I would encourage you to look at him as your kind of resource in the community. And Ryan, I'd ask you to just say a few words about your career, your time here, if you could. And any questions, okay?
Okay, thank you, Chief. Sorry, I don't do microphones. So my name is Ryan Armstrong. I've been with the Bellevue Fire Department for 15 years now. I've lived in Newcastle for 14 years. I think one of 3 Bellevue firefighters out of 220 that actually live in our response area. We usually live outside. I've been at this station as a captain for 2 years, right on Newcastle Way behind the Safeway on 124. I love my job. It's incredible. Even to this day, halfway through my career, I feel blessed that I have amazing training on how to respond to medical emergencies, to structure fires, but also the unique nuances where, I mean, it was years ago, but there was a vehicle pulled over on the side of the street right next to the church on Colton Creek, just north of here. And you go up in there in that mode, you're in that medical emergency mode, what's going on, what's wrong? And he looks up at me and he's just weeping and he goes, my wife died 10 years ago, I don't know what to do. And automatically it's just like, I don't have a psychology degree, but I am just here to serve. Although I do have this amazing training, just being a kind, empathetic human being goes so far in life, and I actually get to do that on a daily basis. I'm so fortunate. With my job as station captain, I'm in charge of all the firefighters there, so when we respond to emergencies, to serve you, I'm in charge of that. We go out on PR events, inspecting the buildings, things of that nature, or daily training. And I also am in charge of the facility, so I like to call it, I'm the landlord of Station 9. Any issues with the fire engine, or luckily I don't have to fix toilets, but I have to write something up to fix the toilet. And then we have an amazing service team that comes out and provides for us on that. Last year we ran 1,400 calls, and we served all the way down to Newcastle, Renton border, up to the Factoria border. And what's exciting, not only with the growth, because again, I've been here just south in Hospital Lake Bourne, living there for 14 years. With the development of Newcastle Commons and everything else, is now we're responding on more calls with Renton Fire Department, Eastside Fire and Rescue, which services Issaquah, and all the unique calls that we go on with them. So not only do we have to be good with our own partners, but it is a regional fire area in that fact where if we only worked with each other, I think we'd be doing the citizens around us a disservice. So it's really exciting that we're training more with them. We're also going on more emergency responses with them as well. What's also fascinating that people ask me a lot is what type of calls you go on. And if there is a percentage out there, what would you guess we go on as far as just medical emergencies? 90? I mean, it's close, but yeah, it's 80%. Most people would think maybe half, or at least the response they give, you're spot on. We're very lucky, we're living longer in life. There's medication, there's awareness, there's education. But with age also comes medical illness. So while a vast majority of our calls are on the EMS side, whether it's a cardiac arrest, like Chief was alluding to, stroke, respiratory issues, abdominal issues, and that, or just trauma from falls or motor vehicle accidents, we have to be very sharp and not lose sight of our firefighting skills at the same time. And also what Chief was alluding to, why I think we're so successful not only with cardiac arrests, but also with structure fires, is time. We are specialized. We have paramedics that are very good at medicine. We have firefighters on engine companies that are very good at hose deployment, moving ladders around. We have the big long ladder trucks, the 60-footers. They're very good at technical rescue and search. So although we do overlap with training, we're very good at our specialties. So when we arrive, because we can quickly do our job, and because we're so lucky to be in a dense area where we can get there quickly and assess, that's why I think we're so successful. And also speaking with cardiac arrest, which is the one number that really stands out. The 2 numbers that have always stood out is how fast we can quickly extinguish a fire, which is typically about 20 minutes from the time you call 911 in a structure fire, that we can actually successfully knock it down, not just arrive, not just get our hose lines deployed, but actually knock it down successfully, 20 minutes. But with cardiac arrests, where citizens play a huge role, and I taught CPR for years, was just buying time. We have paramedics that are really good. We get there quickly, but we don't have a chance of a successful resuscitation. It's not for all of you. What I used to get, I don't teach anymore, but what I always got excited about with teaching was, it might seem mundane to push on someone's chest for about 3 to 5 minutes till we get there, but I promise you that's what's going to save a life. That's what's going to buy us time to save a life, where all the magic happens in the emergency. So again, without citizens, I don't think would be as successful either, especially with citizens taking ownership in their community as events like this. Or when they show up to a CERT class and they learn even how to shut down their electrical panel or their natural gas, or where to go to meet in case of a fire or an earthquake. People taking ownership in their community makes us successful too. So again, I love my job. Thank you so much for having me. If there's any questions, please feel free, or you can grab me before you leave. Any questions? Yes, go ahead.
Well, it's not a question, it's more of a thank you. Fire Station 9 saved my mom's life 10 years ago. If it wasn't for them,